वाचे प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधि वेदस्य मआणिस्थ श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेनाहुरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ May my speech be firmly established in my mind. May the mind too be firmly established in my speech. O self-effulgent Lord, be revealed unto me. May the truths of the scriptures come to me, and may I never be forsaken by these truths. Let me live my life day and night according to their teachings. I shall speak what is appropriate. I shall speak the truth. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Let us feel the presence of divine in us as a controlling power, that which invisibly controls whatever we do, like in a puppet show. All puppets, they have a thread connecting them with a controlling power. And that is deciding their actions and movements. Let each of us feel, see that we are puppets. And feel a sense of surrender to that ultimate power. Let us feel all desires are vanished. I am surrendering to the Lord, the Supreme Governor. I am feeling. Let thy will be done. Not my. My whole being thus is feeling the divine inspiration. I am the machine. Lord is the governor. Om. Peace. 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 So, dear friends, let us begin the discussion on this wonderful biography of Sri Ramakrishna by chanting the opening prayers. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashvapaham shramanamangalam Srimadattatam Bhuvi Grinanti Te Bhurida Janaha. We have been studying for quite some time now this part of Sri Ramakrishna as teacher in this biography, Sri Ramakrishna the Divine Play. And it is the divine play that Sri Ramakrishna's body was used by a divine power. That was a machine that was made to serve a purpose, and that purpose is to teach through exemplification, through presence, and through that teachership to make us aware of our own life, what is its purpose, and how can we attain it. It is a lesson given through this instrument called Sri Ramakrishna. The question comes that yes, Sri Ramakrishna, having effaced all his ego, was a perfect instrument in the hands, figuratively speaking, of the divine power, which is running each and everything here. Is it only in the lives of such great incarnations that this power manifests in this way, or it is manifest in every other being as well? And this is discussed here on page 484, as we see that so many people came in the lives of these great incarnations and they fulfilled a purpose. A part of this play was given to them, like when a playwright writes a play. Isn't it, Yona? You write plays. So when she writes a play, then there are several characters, and then each character has a role there to make the whole story come alive. Every single player there has a specific dedicated part to play, and some plays perfectly well, some plays play that by completely giving up one's individuality and thus become perfect players. Exactly, they enact the whole script to their part. And there are some who are not able to perfectly attune to that character's role. So they, because of their I or ego, they interfere with that well, maybe whatever the author has written, but then it is I am acting, so let me mix some things to it. Sometimes the players, they impromptu add some sentences, the actors, or forget something that they need to say. So it happens sometimes the situation takes unexpected turn while it is being staged. Like they tell a story that there was a play to be enacted, and then there was one character had to shoot another character with a gun. Now the setting was that of course they don't use the real guns with the bullets. That would be, it won't then be a play, it would be different something. It is therefore they use something like a toy, and they, as the trigger is pulled, then a cracker has to burst, a loud sound has to come from a big cracker behind the curtain. And then that will indicate that shooting, and the fellow has to just lie flat, fall down as if dead. That is the written by the author, the script is written. Now it was that cracker was to burst. This man with, you rascal, you idiot, I have to finish your life. You have no right to live in this world. and now I have caught you. Be ready to die. The gun is pointed. And then is pulling the trigger. But the cracker that was to burst because of damp weather or whatever was not bursting quickly. So now it wasn't bursting, he was waiting for the sound. The other actor who was to lie down flat was also not able to do that because the cracker was not bursting. Imagine that scene. So now this actor added a few different things on his own. And why should I waste one bullet to kill such a scoundrel like you? You don't deserve even that. And let me finish you with this dagger. And so pulls out a dagger. And then but by that time the cracker burst. So everybody had a big laugh, which was not part of the original play, you see. So some such things happen. So otherwise in the play, more or less everything goes on according to what is written by the author. So we all have our role to play in this world. Every single cell has a role to play, howsoever minor it may be. Without that role, the whole drama will not be complete. So every single thing has a role. Every blade of grass has to play a role. So, and everything is controlled by that divine power. So, it is mentioned here after telling that how Sri Ramakrishna's life was an instrument to spread or convey this message that each of us as human beings have to live according to an ideal to get what we are seeking. Whatever we are seeking, we can get by following a path. And what we are seeking, that is also to be taught because we are confused about it. Our role is like that of a confused person who at one point wants, I need this, at another point shuns that I need the other thing, runs after various different things and is always irritated, unhappy, and thus is missing the goal. So, this life of Sri Ramakrishna is meant to bring that goal in the horizon of this person's mind, that this is what I have to get in life. And how to get it, that also is demonstrated through various, not just words, but actions are more important there. All the actions and whatever happens, even action is not exactly what I really mean about it. There may not be any action, what we mean ordinarily by this word, that somebody is doing something. No, just presence. Just presence of the incarnation of God is instrumental in spreading this news of the ideal and the way to attain to it. It is not always doing. The presence itself is a teacher. Sri Ramakrishna is just being there. And I many times give this example that if you see a police car there on the highway, then all cars seem to be obeying the traffic rules. It is they go according to the speed limits and all that. Not that the police is doing anything, just the car is there. Maybe the police officer even may not be inside the car, but even the presence of the car is enough. The police officer may be sleeping inside the car. Still, that is enough to make things fall in line. In fact, therefore, that becomes a rule now, that whenever while driving I see everybody is following speed limit, they are not going zigzag like that. Then I infer, not just me, everybody, that there is a police car there. So that presence is enough to make things work. So, not that that incarnation of God is actively doing anything. Without doing anything, the presence is enough to get that done. And then there are, of course, actions also. So, let us read this second paragraph here to show that it is perfectly done by incarnations of God, because there is no I, the ego, which is in everyone, and that therefore is not letting the divine will function fully. It is not that the play of the divine power is seen in the lives of the avatars only. It is just that its vivid play in their lives is more conspicuous, and we marvel at seeing it. That is all. When we study our own daily lives and the practical affairs of the world, we see that power manifesting itself to a lesser degree. Despite the vast experience of human beings and their eventful lives, it is evident that they are always puppets controlled by that divine power. It is therefore not surprising that there is a similarity between the unique life of an avatara and that of an ordinary human being, since the latter is modeled on the former. This is an interesting statement. If we glance at our lives in the past, each of us is old enough to look at that, that how so many incidents that took place in our life, how many of them were actually guided just by our will, our efforts, or by something strange. It is so many events happen in everybody's life. Some time back I had given an example. It is a nice story that she told, that how she became a science student and went on to become a doctor, that she didn't want it. She wanted to study arts. And so, after she was in India, after completion of that high school thing, when the admission was to be sought in the college, now she was telling mom, mom was a taxi had been hired, and she was sitting with her mom. The mother was saying, okay, that's all right. It is good that if you are good in sciences also, so today maybe we can take up science, then if later on if you feel we can take arts, whatever comes, let us visit the colleges. And then there is, as they were driving on the roads in India, it is you have to drive from the left side. And so, like here also in many places, if there is a red, you can still take right turn. Mm. It is, if there is no traffic coming from other side, you can still take a right turn, but you cannot go straight. Now, the arts college, that girl was thinking one has to go straight, another block, and then that college would be found. And then there was the science college, they had to take just a right turn there. And when their vehicle approached, the lights suddenly became red. Suddenly means as per their program, they became red. So the mother said, "Oh, now we will be stuck here in the traffic. So let us take the right turn and see that science college first." And then she went to the science college, and then she saw that it is okay. The mother said, "Why not take admission here right now? It will be all done. And you can always change, there is that flexibility, you can change the course." So then she got admitted into science college, and then completed that. From there went to medical and all that. So she says, "Look, had there been not that red light and had there been green light there instead of red at that moment, the whole life story would have been different." And if we look at our own lives, we will find many such incidents that we did not really plan them, but somebody had planned them for us, and then that plan worked out. The author had put that such a thing will happen at this time, that red light would come, and then therefore, seeing that right now I cannot go forward, let me take a right turn there, left turn actually in India. Let me take there the left turn, and why waste time? Let us see what do they have to offer there, and then move on. But then the plans changed. It is so many times that it had happened that our plans, what we thought, didn't work, and but some other plan was there for us that we never had thought of, and it worked. So even in our own lives, which do not influence millions and millions people over thousands of years, like the lives of avatar or incarnation, divine incarnation, you see, even if that incarnation, that physically that person is gone, how much one's individual, family, and social life is connected and controlled by that. So he says, look, that ordinary human beings try to mold their lives according to the ideals of the avatars, and they will continue to do so eternally. See how Rama, Krishna, Chaitanya, and a few other great souls have such a hold on the lives of the vast India, the common ground of many races and cultures. In the present age, ideal of Ramakrishna, a unique mold newly formed by a combination of the ideals of previous avatars, is spreading rapidly and captivating the Indian people within such a short time. O reader, guess if you wish how far his influence will spread in the course of time. We are totally incapable of understanding or saying anything about that subject. Unconsciously, it happens. One may not be religious, but still that happens because the whole social life gets controlled by that. It is like if you are sitting, say, in a plane, then whatever your individual wish may be, you land along with others at a place where the plane lands. It is if the plane is diverted due to bad weather somewhere else, your plans may get thwarted. You will be with everybody else, you have to land there. So, that is how the lives of incarnations. One person, like anybody, when expressing some dismay or some, say, showing sympathy to somebody, says always, "Oh gee, oh gee." Now that person proclaims that I am not religious, but still that "oh gee" comes there. That is "oh Jesus" is shortened as "oh gee." Why are you saying "oh gee"? You say you are not, you have no religious these connections. You are atheist. But still, why then do you say? That is how unconsciously that program works in us. It is so many people say they are rationalists, they do everything rationally, but still saying something, oh, but it is going on okay now, touch wood. Now what is this touch wood? What happens by touching the wood? Why should you not say, oh, touch gold? No, it is said touch wood. All these things, they become part of our life without our actually planning any of it. It is so. In India, so many people, whether they accept or are religious or think of the God, they say, "Oh Rama, oh Rama." They may be atheists, they may be against religion, but "Oh Rama," like here they say, "Oh gee," they say, "Oh Rama." So that is how it goes into the that mass psyche, and it's governing every individual whether they want it or they don't want it. So that is how he says, see, Sri Ramakrishna's life is influencing so many people in their march in life. They may have planned it or they absolutely may not have planned it. And now it is after about 150 plus years, 175 years of after his advent. You see, that has spread into the whole world in so many countries. People who had never heard, still they get the succor from Sri Ramakrishna's life. And a particular part of that play is his connection with Mathur Babu. It is Mathur Babu, the wealthy owner, practically the owner at that time of this temple garden of Dakshineshwar, and many, many other estates spread over a vast land. He had many estates, many farmlands, and was a very wealthy person. And that person became a devotee of Sri Ramakrishna, played a prominent role in this early part of Sri Ramakrishna's teachership. That how he got into that. When we heard, the author says, and this author came in Sri Ramakrishna's life just for last 5 years or so. Mm. But and by that time Mathur Babu had already passed away. But the stories and the illustrations that Sri Ramakrishna gave about his connections with Mathur and many other eyewitnesses and records, they were available. Even many of them are available now too to see. When we heard that Mathur loved Master wholeheartedly and had 125% faith in him, our doubtful minds immediately thought, perhaps Mathur was like a foolish monkey. How could one person offer so much love and reverence to another? That must be a thoughtless person, a foolish monkey. Monkey, they. It is told that story, you might have read it in your childhood, that they imitate and then thoughtlessly act, not always put lot of thought in it. So there is that story that a man had lot of these hats that he was going to sell. So he had put them all in a big bundle and was carrying it to another town where they are to be sold. He made them and was going to the bazaar of the town, and had to go through some wooded areas where lot of monkeys were there. He was not much concerned about it because that was all a regular thing. But on the way he felt tired and thought that let me lie down for a little while and then I will proceed to my the destination. Anyway, there is still time for the market to begin. So under a tree shed, he kept his that bundle of caps, the hats there, and lied down. And after 15-20 minutes, he saw that all the hats from that bundle were just taken by those all hundreds of monkeys there. And because he had put a hat on his head, they also had adorned their heads with the hats. Now he was telling them, oh, give these hats. He threw stones at them to scare them to do that. They threw the tree branches and other fruits from the tree at him. And they were having a lot of fun seeing the plight of this fellow. And then after spending 10-15 minutes, he saw all he has to suffer now a big loss, having lost all his hats. And so in disgust, he finally took his hat and threw it on the ground. And all the monkeys did the same thing. So he collected all those hats. It was a story in our, say, 3rd grade or 4th grade book. Very funny story. So they threw and he collected all of them and hurriedly went on his way. So Mathur Babu might have just been like a monkey. He might have seen somebody paying obeisance to Sri Ramakrishna and then acted like that. So, because why otherwise? Mm, Had we been in position, we would have found out how Ramakrishna could instill that much devotion and faith in our midst by power of his character. Yeah, we would think that Mathur Babu got swayed away. I will say. And there was soon afterwards this incident came. A person with a very strong faith in his power, a young man, a college going student, thinking that I am not a religious man, I have no faith in God. Mm. Hey, what happened to you? Okay. Mm, it is. So, uh, that man comes to Sri Ramakrishna to test him, and that he was sure that Sri Ramakrishna cannot instill any devotion in him. He wanted to test Sri Ramakrishna in every matter. A very brilliant, intellectually, surpassing any person of that time. So brilliant. Narendranath Datta, who later became Swami Vivekananda, his learning was vast. In intellectual capabilities were very sharp. He was described when he came here as Swami Vivekananda, that the Harvard professor wrote that letter that he is far more learned than all we professors put together. A person of such stature was there to test Sri Ramakrishna, that I am not going to come under his sway. And so he stands there with Sri Ramakrishna. But no, he could not withstand, and then completely surrendered to Sri Ramakrishna. It is what is hinted here is that you cannot really resist that power when you see that. It is, and Mathur Babu was an instrument through which it was to move. And so he was a special instrument in this whole story, and a special character in this play. So, in the script, that role had been assigned to Mathur. As if to have a heartfelt devotion and faith deserves censure, but we must make the reader understand here that whatever we have heard and understood about Mathur from the Master, Mathur was not a fool. He was no less intelligent or critical than the rest of us. He also doubted Master's extraordinary character and activities, and did not spare him from testing at every step in the beginning. But to what avail? How long could Mathur's gigantic doubt elephant withstand the scientific reasoning and the loving, powerful, and forceful spiritual current of Master, which had never before been witnessed in any age? Within a short time, Mathur's doubt was weakened, crushed, vanquished, and destroyed, and it finally disappeared forever. When Mathur was thus completely defeated, What could he do? He wholeheartedly took refuge at the Master's feet. Therefore, it is quite understandable that we speak about Mathur. As we speak about Mathur, we are glorifying the Master's power as a Guru. That is what is happening there. Master's power as a Guru was at work. Now we see Mathur Babu. So many times he tested Sri Ramakrishna, criticized Sri Ramakrishna when people said that Sri Ramakrishna, is behaving like this. It is just insanity. There is no spirituality connected with it. Mathur tested it and applied. His mind was full of rationality. And there are many such incidents that we had seen earlier also in this discussion, and some will come later as we study this chapter. That how this man, full of all worldly ambitions and intellect that was sharp and was trying to see everything rationally without mind getting clouded by this faith. So, let us continue this reading to say, Mathur was attracted to the Master at the first sight because of his childlike simplicity, sweet nature, and handsome appearance. Later, during the first stage of his sadhana, the Master began to experience divine madness. Sometimes he lost control of himself while worshipping the Divine Mother, and sometimes he worshipped himself, seeing her within. This is a very, difficult thing to understand, that he is praying and worshipping the divine, appearing in an image of the Divine Mother Kali. And then the presence of Kali, Divine Mother, would be felt in one's own person, because that also is true. In fact, long back when I was doing, somebody had invited me, and then a worship was there. So, like every morning we do worship here, there is a part there in worship called Manas Puja. And then in that Manas Puja, you take a flower, say the meditation mantra, meditate on that divine within. Feel that presence of God in the mind, and then keep that flower on your head. Instead of offering at the image, you keep it on your head, and then offer all articles of worship devotionally to the presence of God within. That is called a worship in the mind. Now, while I was doing it, one young student at Brown, she was not at all happy. That I don't get it. It is so arrogant of you to take that flower. Instead of offering it at the image, you kept it on your head, and then you did something we didn't understand. But I saw you had the audacity then to take that flower and offer it at that image. How wrong it is. My mother had told that something that is offered at some other place should not be offered at the worship of the God to God. God should not be offered such things. I don't get it. Huh? And she was in no mood even to listen to some explanation that I was trying to put across. That first impression that she got was terrible. So, and I never had a chance to see her again. Probably that was the last impression. So it is that happens, that it is, but it is the presence of God within is an important idea. And it is specifically compared to some other faiths a central teaching in Hindus. God is within. I remember that our Catholic chaplain at Brown at that time, when I was talking about Bhagavad Gita in our chaplain's meeting, he said, Swami, you again and again were saying God within us. We don't emphasize it. When I showed that, well, look at what Jesus says, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Don't, he said, I don't deny that it is there. It is there. What I only want to say that just as in the Hindus you emphasize it a lot, we don't do it, we show hand to the skies. That, oh Father who art in heaven. As if the God is sitting somewhere up there. So, it is this idea that God is within us. And therefore, that is when you worship God, that all pervading nature of God makes you feel the God present right within as well. Do you get my point, Vishwanath? Yeah. To feel that presence of God right within. It is, and when you feel that that God is right here, the worship also then, wherever you feel God, there it will go. So Sri Ramakrishna did worship to God feeling in the heart, and all others who were looking at it became upset. What is this happening? And the Divine Mother was not for him an image then. She was always alive. She was out of devotion that becomes alive. It is, and so he would consult her every now and then. It is real. And that Divine Mother, therefore, whatever she would say was the command for him. That certain things put for food items for the Divine Mother to take. Now Sri Ramakrishna would offer, Mother, please take this. This is offered with devotion. There are the mantras, but normally a person who doesn't have that kind of strong feeling, like when we do puja, I do puja, I offer it, that with the mantra and whatever little feeling I have associated with it. But for Sri Ramakrishna, it is actually a person, a manifestation of Divine Mother. See the difference. This difference, once our President Maharaj of that time, Swami Vireshwarananda, the 10th President of the Ramakrishna Order, this incident was narrated to me by a Swami who was at that time present there. He visited the center in Mumbai, and then the president of the order, so he was taken care of very meticulously, uh, his comforts were taken into consideration in smallest detail. The food was offered to him, very nicely made and placed before him that in a very most appropriate manner. And he said, well, I am thankful to you for all this service that you are rendering to me. After all, it is service to Sri Ramakrishna. Why do you render it to me? Because as the president of the order, I am a representative. And why you are doing it so meticulously with all this? I was very much impressed by this service, and thank you very much for that. But look, mm, when you go to the temple, do you offer the same kind of meticulous service with that attention? You don't, because there you don't have the feeling that there is the actual being sitting there. You think that is an unconscious, inert image that is there. And so you do not offer the same respect there. But you know that I am alive. I am watching. I am actually responding. And so you are very careful. Why don't you see that the God that is sitting there is alive? See that is alive. And as you see that as alive, you will be able to worship properly. So for Sri Ramakrishna, that it was what I narrated you was a very powerful incident that left such a strong impression on the minds of those who were present, that look, that is how Sri Ramakrishna is very much alive. In my early days, I had a fight with a senior Swami. It is, and that, and I told him that see, this is all. I don't think that Sri Ramakrishna is there in the shrine. I was really, excuse me, I was at that time tremendously angry and agitated. And he was smiling, He was pretty senior and had seen many such things. So he was smiling at my outrage, and he said, you may say whatever you want, but I know he is there. He is there. And wow, the way he said that, I could see that he really feels that presence there. So, it is the question of our own evolution spiritually that we can feel that. So, therefore, when Sri Ramakrishna was acting strangely for those who were not able to see the image of Goddess as alive, they could not understand it. And that is the difference. So they complained to Mathur Babu. And Mathur Babu also could not fully fathom it, but could understand that Sri Ramakrishna is doing it devotionally. I see the clock is telling me to stop. So the remaining part we shall read next Tuesday and try to understand it better and better. We will meditate on this for 30 seconds, and if you have a question or a comment, we can take it up after that. Yes, please. Yes, Carol. Well, it is not easy to know that. When we take a look at our past life, then we can see that it was not always our will, but something else, some other power had been planning things for us, and in spite of our resistance, in spite of our that will to do otherwise, we were not allowed to proceed like that. Many things we plan in our life. Okay, I will do this, then this will happen, then this will happen, and everything we plan is for what? Uh, Becoming miserable or becoming happy? How do we plan? Hmm? Becoming miserable, Muni Krishna, or becoming happy? Oh, is it so? You plan life like that? That let me become more and more miserable? No, nobody plans like that. It is. Nobody plans life. What's Srijana? How do you plan? Let me be happy. If I do like this, then I will be happy. But things do not always work out like that. In spite of our plans, things become different. It is when we have plans, say to go to beach, not in this weather, but yeah. Uh, but when we say that, well, it is summer time, let's go to beach, and suddenly, unplanned, a storm sets in that day, a lot of heavy showers and winds and floods, and everything gets thrown off the gear in spite of our plans. So, although the plan was like that, one man, I was talking to him, he had come here to do some carpentry work. And just how did you turn? Well, I had some interest in carpentry, but then I actually decided to start a restaurant at the beach. Used to go and see so much of people, that people coming there, and I was sure if I set up a restaurant, it will run very well, and I will be soon getting lot of money. So I invested money in that, and then set up the restaurant on that beach. And then what happened was that on so many occasions that when I expected that the people will be coming, lot of food will get this thing used, and I prepared for that, called extra help, waiters and all that, and suddenly that bad weather will come, and the whole plan would be gone. I had to spend then without any returns. It was a big loss. And not only that, the weather would be probably good. Who knows? That day, one day, weather was good, but it was forecasted to be bad. That yes, there is a chance of storm. We were discussing this afternoon, that what is the meaning of, say, 75% chance of rain. How do they measure that? The chances of that rains 10% means what? The rain will not be 10%, but the chances of rain are 10%. So it can rain. So sometimes there is the chance of rain. And so people stay home. They cancel their beach plans. So even though the weather was good, the customers didn't come. And so because of the big loss, then I had to shut down all that. Now the business got shut down. Although it was not planned like that, some other forces worked. So see, it is we can, if we look at our past, we will be able to see that. Now I understand from your question that we how then we have to manage our individual will, that how that I want it to be like this and I am planning like this with our own initiative. It is unless we learn to have this idea that I am doing it with my initiative, but after all, God's plans will succeed, not my plans. And learning to surrender, that is why the prayer. That prayer is very difficult. You know that the prayer that Jesus taught, Thy will be done. How many can say like that? All of us say, My will be done. My will. It is therefore we are taught to pray that, O Lord, may your will. It says that to make the things very unambiguous. It says, on earth as it is in heaven. It is on earth also that plan, that thing works. Let it work, not my will, thy will. Then gradually our ego will that weaken, and we will have that feeling of surrender. Then that question will not remain. What question you have will not remain. So this is how individually we plan, do, and we will have to do. It is and but if we look at our lives, we see so many unforeseen twists and turns have taken place that I had not put it in plan. I had not wished for them, and that worked, you see. Any other? Oh, you have a question? Right. It is very similar that what you are saying is correct. That person may make me uncomfortable. Presence of that person may make me feel uncomfortable. But there is still a purpose for that person to be there. And yeah, correct, exactly. Thank you, Judy. So, what, Naomi, you have a question? Okay. So, let us conclude with the closing prayers. Just to remind you, there is on coming Friday, instead of the regular class on Shvetashvatar Upanishad, it will be a video lecture on the same Shvetashvatar Upanishad. And on Sunday, coming Sunday, there is the birthday celebration of Holy Mother Sri Sarada Devi from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. So You can participate as much as you can. If you can participate from 11 to 7, fine. If you want cannot do the whole, do as much as you can. You are welcome. So, closing prayers. Hmm. So please join in reciting the closing prayer. It should be, your voice should be louder than my voice. May the divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.